welcome back to story time, or Jackanory as I like to call it. You know, your mum and dad will know what I mean by Jackanory, but it's story time with me, Marie Cope, and as I'm reading to you from the Misfits. So if you've been following what I've been reading for you, you've met each of the characters. They've done, they've arrived at school and Boo's done his introduction to the class because he's a new guy in the class. Now, Achu's had to take him to games. So the next chapter I'm going to read you is actually called Oh No, Games. Oh, come on, coach, do we have to? Jonas, team captain for the red team, whined as he towed the gravel on the all-weather pitch in annoyance. Yeah, coach, what's the point? They're all rubbish, even the new guy by the looks of him, said Griff, team captain for the blue team. Jonas, Griff and Coach Banks turned to look at the four remaining classmates, yet to be picked for one of the rounders teams. Achu was slumped on the bench, 1 foot up and his mouth drooping open, snoring, a couple of flies buzzing around, unable to escape the slipstream of his deep breathing. Mina was lying on the grass at the side of the pitch, staring up at the plump clouds drifting across the blue sky, reaching up towards them and laughing to herself. Zoe was sitting next to Achu, using his elevated leg to rest her arm against as she tried to secure it firmly back in place. Boo, although managing to pick up a ball and toss it up in the air, was failing to catch it, his attention being drawn to the slightest movement, causing the ball to fall straight through his hands. So, you'd both rather play without these four, would you? Coach Banks said, drawing up to his full 7 feet height and looming over his team captains, his hands clamped on his hips. Pretty much, yeah, Griff said, completely unfazed by Coach Banks' stature, unlike Jonas, who had distanced himself from Griff. Tough, Coach Banks growled, bending down as he did so, his spittle landing on Griff's face, causing him to pull away. We don't leave our comrades behind, Coach Banks continued, parading in front of the friends, hands clasped behind his ramrod straight back. But, Coach, it's only a game, Griff started, before closing his eyes and turning his face away as Coach Banks marched over to him and bent double until his face was level with Griff's. Silence ensued for the next couple of minutes before Griff slowly opened one eye, only to find Coach Banks an inch away. For that comment, you can take them all. Now let's play. Everyone jumped, even Achu, as Coach Banks clapped his huge hands. Relegated to deep field for their predictable failings, the four friends came under constant pressure and grumblings as the red team hit ball after ball way out into the field. The first hit a sleeping Achu on the forehead, sending him rolling across the pitch, but not rousing him from his slumber. The second whizzed clear over Mina's head as she watched a ladybug scuttle up her arm and into her clothing. The third was hit in Boo's direction, and he valiantly positioned himself in the perfect stance to receive the ball, but was distracted at the last minute by a squeal from Mina, the ball going straight through his hands and his body. A howl of frustration could be heard from Griff as he pounded his fists into first base and then stormed off the pitch to the sound of jeers from the red team. The last and arguably best batter for the red team stepped up and all eyes turned to Zoe, who was frantically trying to reattach her arm after it flew off when she was batting and hit the red team bowler, best friend of the current batter, in the face, breaking her nose, blood everywhere. Give me a minute, Zoe called, but the sound was muffled by the duct tape she held in her mouth and the ball was bowled. The batter swung the bat back and, as if in slow motion, brought it forward to connect cleanly with the ball, sending it high and directly towards Zoe. A collective gasp could be heard as the ball sailed clearly over Zoe's head towards a tall, dark structure covered in ivy and guarded by imposing gargoyles. The wall. Nobody spoke as the ball continued its flight path and disappeared over the wall and dropped from sight. Okay, people, show's over. Bowl again, Coach Banks shouted and threw another ball to the blue team bowler. Everyone turned back and resumed play. Everyone, that was, except Boo. Hang on a mo. Why ain't we going after that'n? He shouted, cupping his palms around his mouth to allow the sound to travel. No one responded. Oi, Fangless, what's the story? He said, giving up his position and wandering over to where Mina was sitting cross-legged, several ladybugs now capturing her attention. Don't call me that, she said, not looking up at him. Just stating a fact, no offence intended, Boo said, clicking his fingers in front of Mina's face. What? She said, clearly annoyed by the interruption. What's with the coach? Why ain't we going after the ball? We never do, Mina said as the whistle blew and Coach ordered everyone back to the changing rooms. That's bonkers. Why not? Tell you in the changing rooms, I'm going to need help with this too, Zoe said as she came up to them carrying her still unattached arm. Don't forget a chew, Mina said. We can't leave him here. You know what happened last time. Mina headed over to waken a chew, but while Boo stood waiting for an explanation to Mina's comment, but Zoe was already heading inside. What happened to him last time then? He called after Zoe. Oh, he was still there the next morning, caused a right panic. The headmaster still hasn't recovered from the wrath of a Chew's dad, Zoe called back over her shoulder. The lad's got serious problems, Boo muttered and followed Zoe inside. So, can any of you identify with being last to be picked for a sports team? I can, and it was always the rounders team because I was rubbish at rounders. So, I can, I was always stuck in deep field too. But there we go. This is what happens. Some of us are good at sports, some of us are good at other things. So you have to think about it that way. Think positively. Anyway, I'm not going to get into a lecture on things like that, but all I want to say is I hope you enjoyed that chapter. And next time, Boo's going to continue trying to figure out why they didn't go after the ball and what it is about this wall that basically has them just ignoring it as if it doesn't exist. So I'll see you next time.